warrior. There is so much great news going on today. I don't even know where to start. I've been up since the crack of dawn and it's getting later at night, but I had to jump on here to share with you because we talk about a lot of complex issues, right? With slavery, with exploitation, with digital safety, with protecting kids and families. So when I have a lot of good news, I think it warrants pointing it out. The day started with a very good meeting with the DEA to review a program that we did tonight. We created together a webinar. Now, that's a meeting online. Why is this important? Because we have come together, the Warriors and the Drug Enforcement Administration, to create and to host and to have these parent assemblies. We want to give parents, caregivers, family members the information to keep their kids safe. We want them to know what's going on. We want them to know headlines. We want them to know what they should do in a situation. We want them to know they can turn to us. We will work with them. The DEA is doing a wonderful job in really getting into the communities, and our Warriors hashtag is Community Creates Change. So we were very excited to do this webinar late this afternoon, early evening. And I have to tell you, the real warriors are the parents who showed up to hear what we had to say. And then at the end to ask questions, to see those little hands go up, waving, or the thumbs up, or it is so important. And the school was rather nervous. The guidance counselor said, I don't know how many will really show up. And we said, well, if one shows up, that is good enough for us. We had a fantastic time and we had many, many parents. It was a major success. And we had parents weigh in at the end and say, okay, now can we do an assembly with the kids? We want to do it with them and you lead us. They're thirsty and hungry community members for information. So we had that. Prior to that, I was at the, what is called here in New York City, the Swedish House on Park Avenue. And it was community leaders, sponsored by the Swedish consulate, also our colleagues, collaborators, Coalition Against Trafficking of Women, bringing together from all over the world why we need the equality model. And I'll leave you with this, because I'll put some information in the body of the video. There was no reason in 2025 that we're going to be allowing the exploitation of our women and girls. And excuse me for this. There's just no any, I can't even explain it to you except to say that legalizing prostitution does nothing but create demand. That's the bottom line. That's what you have to know. Because those willing to be in the sex trade will never be able to fill the demand. Therefore, new people, new children, the demand is for children, will be needed. It's very simple. And the harms caused. So we're going to leave it at that. The third thing happening is something I'm very interested in. If you've been a follower of the Warriors, and I know you are because you're here now, I have talked prior to the Trump administration relentlessly about the NGOs working on the border, working with kids. They're unvetting the sponsors that come to pick up the kids. There's a total blackout if you were on the border about the kids. You weren't allowed to ask questions, take photographs, nothing from nothing. Now, I'll tell you why this is so important. Well, it is so important because today, and it was just announced, let's see where I put this. The Department, Health and Human Services, which is now being run by Bobby Kennedy Jr., but that's where human trafficking, just to give you a little sidebar, sits right now, the federal government. So human trafficking sits there. But HHS and DOJ, Department of Justice, came together moving to end sexual abuse and harassment of unaccompanied alien children in shelters operated by Southwest Key Programs. Now, why this is so important is because I've spoken in the past about the Southwest Key Programs. Moved all the children, they took all the children, we don't even know the numbers, out of their 27 residential shelters. They were supposed to be providing this temporary living arrangements for these unaccompanied children. They're located in Texas and Arizona and California. The largest shelters for the unaccompanied children. But there were many stories of a lot of unlawfulness. Let me get around the algorithms here. A lot of exploitation, a lot of abuse. I think you know what I'm talking about. And gone, done. So this makes me extremely happy because these children have been moved to safer environments, and a lot's going on with all of those children. But nobody could understand why this would be allowed, this Southwest Key, to operate these shelters when nobody could get follow-up, nobody could get anything. 27, the largest provider. Done, done, done. So that's great news. The other great news is that if you're in the New York area, May 6th, we are having our Warriors fundraiser to support our education programs and to support survivors. Because remember, the survivor voice is most necessary in the education about all of these issues and teaching us. I haven't been trafficked. I need help. And we also need in society to fill in the gaps, the loopholes. And somebody with lived experience can point that out and can tell us. And actually, that is something I'll be talking about in Washington, more survivor support. Survivor leaders need to be paid. They need to be on the boards of organizations, and some are, but more. They need to be able to speak more. It's funny because an organization today, she is a survivor leader, is putting out looking for money to fly to D.C. to talk about these issues. Perhaps all these money is wasted. If people were well vetted and their organization is doing a good job, there'd be a pot there of some dough for them to travel and do the good work and share it with the Congress, what's going on. So there's a lot of good things. And the other good things, I have to just go back. Kids, the alpha generation, that is 0 to 14, born in 2010. More studies coming out, almost 15, some of these kids now, rejecting devices more, not giving them up, but not spending as much time, reading books, getting involved in arts. So this is music to our ears. This is just the definition of community creates change. More people are talking about things, more parents, by virtue of our webinar we did today, asking, how do they handle this situation with their child? How do they handle this? We preach open and honest communication, and I heard it tonight. And showing up to something is 99% of it. So we're off to a great start. But make sure you go to our Twitter and our Facebook and our Instagram. Make sure if you're in the New York area, May 6th, you come. We're going to have fun. Fun. I know this isn't a fun topic and subject. This is an American crisis, what we talk about, right? In the meantime, as a community, we can come together, we can share food, we can share music, we're having a book signing with a survivor and an investigative reporter who wrote a terrific book, and I've interviewed them here. Go back and find the YouTube link for Vegas Concierge, true story, true crime. This survivor put her trafficker away in prison. Tough. That's a tough warrior. So there's so much great stuff. And because you're here, you are a warrior. So we give you hope. A lot of things are changing. A lot of things are looking up. A lot more people are getting involved and want to know how to help the kids. And that is a warrior move. Always make sure you go to lynswarriors.org, up-to-date information, resources, take actions. I'll be calling upon you to sign on to a piece of legislation soon. All we need is your name and your zip code, and it goes off to Washington. More on that later this week. In the meantime, when you wake up each and every day, I know you know what to do. Go out and be a warrior.